You guys ready for our last lecture? We are finishing today with mean, median, and mode of regular data sets and grouped data sets. Quick refresher here, mean, median, and mode are different measures of center. The mean is called the arithmetic average. The median is the value in the middle when data is arranged in ascending order. And the mode is the most frequent occurring value. Again, all three of them are measures of center, each with its own purpose to describe our data. If I am given a set of data and I'm asked to find the mean, median, and mode, I have 5, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 5, 6, 5, 7, 3, 2, 5. Anytime I want to find the mean, I am going to sum all of the values together first. So 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 7 plus 3 plus 2 plus 5. I will get that entire total, which should be 56. Once I have that result, I will then divide by however many data values I had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to take 56 divided by 13, and I'm going to round that to just one decimal place, giving me 4.3. To find the median, I have to put the data in numeric order, smallest to biggest. I have 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5s, a 6, and a 7. And as I did that, I also found my mode. So I'm going to jump down here and do mode quick. The one that happened the most, or the one that I wrote the most, was number 5. So that is my mode. Now going back to the second one where we want to find the median. I'm then going to cancel out one on each side until I am left with either 1 or 2 in the middle. Again, it's going to depend on how many data values I have. Anytime it's odd, I will have exactly 1 value in the middle. I had 13 pieces of data, so that's an odd total. I will have an exact middle, and that is 5. So this 5 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values below it, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values above it. That is what makes it the median. It is the data value that splits my data in half. So another example. This one gives us the values of 110, 115, 116, 117, 118, 120, 121, 122, 125, and 126. The nice thing about this one is it is already in numeric order, so I won't have to arrange them when it comes time to do the median. If I want to find the mean, I'm going to first sum all of these values together. So I need to take all of them together, 110, 115, 116. Let's see here. 110, 115, 116, 17, 118, 120, 121, 122, 125, 126. So I have a sum of 1,190. And then I'm going to divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 pieces. So 119 is my arithmetic average. I'll jump down to mode. When I look at my data values, all of them occur with the same frequency. Every value I have listed is only listed one time, and therefore we have no mode. In order for something to be a mode, it has to occur more frequently than other values. There is a chance you could have two modes. So for example, if this had an extra 117 and an extra 121, then I could say I had two modes because these two values both occur twice, which is more frequent than any other value that is in the data set. That is not the case with this one, though. Everything occurs the same, so there is no mode. Median, I'm going to work to cross off, but this one I have an even total, so I have 10 pieces of data. As I cross off one on each side evenly, 4 crossed off, 4 crossed off, I'm left with 2 that are in the middle. So what we have to do is we take the 2 that are left and we want to find the exact middle of them. That is, add them together and divide by 2, or you can just look and say, hey, I know what's in the middle of 118 and 120, that's 119. So 119 is the median, and there is a chance that your median may not be a value of the original data set. When you have that even set of data, if these two values that you're left with are different, you're going to average them together, and that value will be different. It will not be a value that you already have in the data set. So sometimes that does happen. But you can see then 119 splits the data evenly, 5 below it, 5 above it. All right, so I'll give you guys a minute or two to try this one here. You have 35, 38, 36, 35, 38, 38, 45, 48, 38, and 36. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of data. So see if you can find quickly the mean, the median, and the mode. All right, when I added all of them together, I got 387 divided by 10, because there's 10 pieces of data, 38.7 was my mean. My median, I needed to put them in order. 1, 2, 1, 2, 36s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 38s. Well, there's my mode. A 45 and a 48. All right, so if I work to cross them off, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one worked out that the two numbers I was left with are identical. So the middle of 38 and 38 is 38 is my median. And you can see that all three of our data values are very close together. That means our data is roughly symmetric. Hopefully that was pretty good review for you. The only thing that may be a little new is if you have grouped data, how we would then find the mean of the group data. What we have to do is to find the mean of group data, you're going to take each midpoint times the frequency. So x1 is going to represent midpoint of the first group times frequency 1 plus x2 times frequency 2. So the midpoint of the second group times its frequency, so on and so forth, all the way through to your last data point xn fn. And then you're going to divide by however many total you have for your frequency. So x1 or x, I guess I could say xn is a midpoint and fn is the frequency. So for these, we're going to be given a table with the spread of data and the frequency. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to add next to my range here what the middle is of those two values. So the middle of 1/2 and 1.5 is 1. The middle of 1.5 to 2.5 is 2. 2.5 to 3.5 is 3. 3.5 to 4.5, the middle is 4. 4.5 to 5.5, the middle is 5. So then I can multiply across my table here. 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 5 is 20. And 5 times 4 is 20. I am going to sum those values. 6 ends in a 7. 1, 6, 77 is my total that I'm then going to divide by how many data pieces I had, 30. I take 77 divided by 30, I'm going to get 2.6. One way to check to make sure you've done these correctly is my original data is from 1/2 max 5.5. And whatever I get as my average should fall in between those, roughly in the middle. So I know I did this correct. 2.6 is within those values, and it is going to fall kind of right in that middle group right there. I'll do one more. So we have groups 98 to 100, 100 to 102, 102 to 104, 104 to 106, 106 to 108, 108 to 110. If the numbers are further apart and you can't very quickly tell me what the middle is, just add them together and divide by 2. But I can look at these and say the middle of 98 and 100 is 99. The middle of 100 and 102 is 101. And then I should be able to just see the pattern, 103, 105, 107, and 109. So I'm then going to multiply each by their frequency. 594, 101, 515, 105, 321, and 436. I then need to sum all of those values together. And you should get 2,072, which you're going to then divide by your total frequency of 20. When I do that, I get 103.6 as my average. I start at 98, I end at 110. 103.6 does fall in the middle there. So I have done math accurately here. If I got an average of 500, you would clearly know, okay, I did something wrong. Maybe I accidentally I hit all of this and then said divide by 20, not hitting equals before I got my sum. So then my average was off. All right, just a quick way that you can check those. You can also determine what is called the modal class from a set of grouped data. And that is just a matter of looking at your frequencies and telling me which group happens the most or has the highest frequency. So the highest frequency is 6, which means this group here, 98 to 100, is the modal class. That is the grouping of values that occurs the most. So words of caution here. We did see a data set like this where all of the data was unique. So it is possible to have no mode. No mode can occur when we, in fact, have no values that are occurring more than the rest. We also talked about a data set where we can have more than one mode. So in this next data set, 1 happens 3 times, 7 happens 3 times. And in this case, it is called bimodal or 2 modes. Those modes are 1 and 7. Both 1 and 7 occur with the same frequency of 3, which is more than any other value. And then our last word of caution here was the question that was asked was, what was your favorite flavor of ice cream? When I ask you that question, are you giving me a number response or are you giving me a word response? A word response. So your response is chocolate or your response is cookie dough, right? If I were to list out all the responses, chocolate, chocolate, strawberry, mint chocolate chip, those are the responses. If I list those, can I find an average ice cream flavor? No. It makes no sense to talk about an average ice cream flavor. For the same reason, it makes no sense to talk about the median ice cream flavor. Okay, it's not giving me any useful information. It does not matter that we have counts here. This is just a frequency table telling me how many times people answered chocolate. I do not take these numbers and calculate a mean and a median. So that means when you have word responses, the only thing you can tell me is the mode. And that is just which one happened the most. And that would have been chocolate. Chocolate is the mode. That is all I have for you guys. But it was a pleasure. If you need anything from me in the future, letter recommendation, help with another math class, anything like that, let me know. I'm more than willing to do that. And hopefully I will see you around.